Good morning, everybody. This is Connie Stewart. I'm here at Bel Air Physical Therapy, and this morning we're going to discuss some fine motor activities that you could do with your preschool kids. Especially now that everyone's home, we're all looking for some exciting, fun activities to do to spend time together and to continue to work on skills that our children would often work on in school. And today we are going to work on making a spring picture. And we're going to go through right now exactly what you can do with your children in preparing this project and what fine motor skills you'll be working on in the process. Okay, if you have some construction paper, scissors, glue, markers or crayons, some little beans or lentils, you might also want to use some pom-poms or tissue paper, any little things you have around the house that could be helpful in putting together a project. This is not about the specifics that we're using for the project, but about the skills in general that we'll be using to create it and the exciting final product that your children will have and excitedly be able to put on your refrigerator or hang up on your wall. Okay, let's start with what you'll need to do as a parent in setting this up. If you take a small strip of green paper that we'll be using for some grass, and you can make some vertical lines on the paper that your child will cut on. And this is a very basic cutting activity that we call snipping. It's not even cutting yet. It's literally the ability to open and close the scissor to cut what's underneath without the necessary skill of transitioning the scissor forward. So all your child's gonna have to do is literally cut those little lines that you made for them. Additionally, the thicker paper that you might be using, thinking about cardstock as opposed to regular printer paper or construction paper, often children who are learning how to cut have an easier time cutting firmer paper because that gives them an increased amount of feedback of that they are cutting and how hard they're cutting. Okay, so now we have our grass set. Next thing we're going to do is prepare a sun to be cut out. You can prepare a nice little circle for your child. Depending on the age of your child, the size of the circle is going to be significant. The smaller the circle, the higher the angle they're going to have to be cutting with the scissors, so the more challenging it's going to be. Therefore, if your child is younger, you're going to want to either make a square sun or a much larger circle. If your child is older, making a smaller circle will definitely be appropriate. Your child is going to cut out the sun, encouraging them to stay on the lines. Using scissors is quite a high-level bilateral coordination activity since it requires using two hands at the same time, each doing a different task. As you saw, my right hand was actively doing the cutting and my left hand was turning the circle on the paper as I was cutting it. If your child has a hard time with this, definitely helping them through the activity would be appropriate. Okay, next thing we're going to do is make a little cloud. This is an even higher level cutting activity. Again, depending on the age of your child, you can adjust as necessary for them. Cutting out a cloud requires very significant sudden changes in direction. So your child is going to have to be skilled with that in order to be able to complete this activity. Also, depending on your child's skill, the amount of boldness that you provide the lines to be will also be a significant factor. For children who are more skilled in cutting, they can have thinner lines, while children who are just beginning to cut or having a harder time with cutting, bolder lines are definitely recommended to increase the ease and their success in the cutting activity. Okay, Here we have our little cloud right over here. The last thing we're gonna need to cut is the flower. Some people might prefer just to use pom-poms directly on the paper. Other people might prefer to either cut out a flower itself or individual petals of the flower. Again, whatever is most preferable to your children is what's gonna be the best way for you. Okay, we're gonna quickly cut out this flower right over here. I made sure to make the petals big enough that there's still space inside of them for the children to fill them with whatever they might want. Like we said before, beans, lentils, tissue paper, pom-poms, cotton balls, whatever it might be. Okay, and here we go. Time to put it together. Take a nice blue background for the sky. Using a glue stick is a great way to get your children working those muscles, to open up the top of the glue stick, turn the bottom, all great hand skills. Put some glue on the bottom, followed by the grass. Make a little green stem for your flower. And glue the flower right there on the top. Now we'll glue on the cloud and the sun too, right in the corner. Okay, now the fun decorations get to start. Working on drawing vertical lines for the sun and then transitioning into horizontal lines as we go around. Our basic skills, vertical lines are easiest to draw, followed by horizontal lines. Depending on the age of your child, either pre-making the lines for them to trace, giving them dotted lines for them to trace, or having them copy your lines, or even just drawing lines on their own. As a parent, you know what your child's up to. So this would be a straight line for your child to trace, a dotted line for your child to trace, or for them to freestyle, coming nice and all the way around the sun over here. Next, we're gonna move on to the cloud. For the cloud, having your child draw some raindrops, a nice, easy way for children to be able to do this is to show your child that a raindrop is a U with an upside down V over it. Depending on the age of your child, if they're already familiar with their letters, this might be a very easy way for them to learn how to make a raindrop. Otherwise, just showing them a curved line that almost looks like a cereal bowl, followed by a hat on top, might be an easier way for children who are slightly younger to make a raindrop. Next thing we're going to do is decorate our flower. Again, you can use whatever materials are most convenient for you in your home. Introducing a fun little way for your children to pick them up from the table and move them onto the picture might be a nice way to introduce some finger strengthening as well, possibly pulling out some clothespins or a strawberry picker that you might have in your drawer to enable them to pick up something small, maintain that grasp as they're bringing it over onto its spot on the paper. The larger the object is, the easier it's going to be for them to hold in either the strawberry picker or the clothespin. I would do like this, pick up a pom-pom. I don't have to hold it as hard because it's nicely firmly in there, and then open it up again to put it on the spot where it belongs on the paper. If your child is at an age where they're just beginning to learn about letters and copying letters, tracing letters, you could definitely include some letter writing in this activity as well, writing the word spring or summer, flower, labeling the items. That's definitely a fun thing to do as well. Hope you all enjoy doing this project with your children and hope to see you again soon.